Today on Shop Nation, I'll show you how I made my table saw fence organizer, which keeps all of my most commonly used tools close at hand. It's sure to make you more productive and just looks cool. What's up you guys, I'm Travis, this is Shop Nation. And in this video, we're gonna be doing a continuation of the shop organizational series where I try and tackle one project in my shop that hopefully you can learn something from. And this week, we're focusing on the table saw. So I gotta ask, does anyone's table saw fence look like this? A mixture of push sticks and push blocks and controls and tape measures, pencils, all that kind of stuff? Yeah, thought so. Me too, obviously. So I want to devise something that takes care of this. But with all of my organizational projects, I want it to be intentional and specific to what I need in my shop. So right off the bat, you can see a variety of push sticks. Now, do I need 3 different kinds of push sticks? Probably not. So I consolidate that. I also have this gripper push block, which I think is vital for anybody with a table saw. These things are awesome and keep your hands out of harm's way. But there's also some other things that I keep in and around the table saw fence that I want quick access to. The first one is the control for my dust collection. I most often use it at the table saw, so I just keep it here, but on occasion I do pick it up and take it around the shop. I also always want access to a tape measure. I really like these little miniature ones. And a couple of other things that you may want to add would be like the digital angle gauge for finding the miter angle on your table saw, and maybe a pencil or two. But I've actually got one more feature that I want to build into this thing, and it's kind of specific to my saw, although I'm sure it's apparent on other saws as well. Here, I'll just show you real quick. If I put a bunch of pressure at the end of this fence, you can see that I can actually move it. And the fact that this can move means that some of my cuts may be less accurate if I put a big force, which causes it to deflect. So I'm actually going to incorporate a way to lock this end of the fence to the table using a magnet. Specifically, a product from MagSwitch called the MagJig, in this case, the MagJig 150. Now what this little magnet does is basically black magic, unless you understand how they work. So if I take this little mag switch to something magnetic like the cast iron top on my table saw, stick it on, it doesn't actually stick. In fact, I can move it around, I can pull it off. There is zero magnetic attraction between this and this, which there should be, until you rotate the handle. Now, it's freaking locked on there. Specifically locked on there with 150 pounds of holding force, which is crazy. So as you can see, it actually creates a really tight connection, and if I pull hard enough, I can move it. And that has everything to do with the friction between this surface and the magnet, which you could in theory alter if you put something a little grippier on the bottom of this. But this specifically is what I want to incorporate in the little organizer at the end of the fence when I don't want it to deflect. It'll make more sense later. All right, so step 1 is making an intentional list of what you want to include in this organizer and always have access to right here at the table saw. Now I'm actually going to make room for one of these 1, 2, 3 blocks as well. This makes setting things like blade height, dado width, that kind of thing really easy. Just put this right up next to your blade and get an accurate measurement. Of course, a link for that will also be down in the description. Step 2 is to lay those out in a way that makes sense to you and your workflow. And step 3 is build the damn thing. So my fence has these little annoying push stick clips that I need to get out of the way. Now if you're curious what I'm using, this is actually colored MDF I had left over from a different project, but just use whatever you got. Projects like this are usually build as you go, so I like to just start with some basic measurements and then watch it grow from there. The bottom of this organizer is going to be hardy board with kind of a glossy side face down. You can see that my fence has these adjustment knobs for the high-low feature that I need to build around. Now just really trying to get a feel for what goes where. Once I'm happy with the layout, I can start putting it together. I really like this combo of CA glue and wood glue, so you don't have to wait until the wood glue fully sets before you can keep going. It really makes quick work of projects like this. Now finally adding the bottom, making sure to add the cutouts to clear those adjustment knobs. Now to help prevent this organizer from catching on edges, I'm gonna add a round over along the whole bottom perimeter. All right, so we've got our organizer now complete. Now obviously you don't have to use colored MDF. I just went a little fancy with it. But you can see that the general shape, this is the channel that it sort of sits in on the table saw. These are the pockets for the push sticks. This is where all the different stuff that I want to keep over there is eventually gonna go. Now also you can see that there are these two pockets cut out, which are really specific to my saw. This is where two of the knobs actually go that adjust the high-low fence. Obviously if your saw doesn't have that, you don't need that. But all that's left to do is, let's go put it on. But first, let's thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes on a variety of topics that just might help you either develop a new skill set or deepen an existing passion. Now, when I say they have a variety of classes, I am not joking. You can take classes on things like wildlife photography. Oh, neat, a wild stick. Videography. And even bird watching. All right, honestly, I don't know if there's bird watching, but you catch my drift. If you have an interest in it, there's a good chance that there's a Skillshare class for you. Now, I'm very much still a video and photo newbie, so having classes available on things like Photoshop and Premiere Pro is awesome. And since it's curated specifically for learning, there's no ads, you pay one low monthly fee, that's it. Now, if that sounds too good to be true, the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click on the link in the video description below will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today. So although it technically works, everything is here, it travels with the fence, way big improvement, but we could do better than that. Specifically, I don't want it doing that, so we're gonna fix it with 3D printing. So lots of people ask what I use for 3D design, and my preference is Fusion 360. It's such a huge asset to have the ability to model in 3D, and I think Fusion, frankly, is the best for hobbyists. If you want to learn Fusion, I always point people towards Kevin Kennedy's Product Design Online Academy. I'll put a link down below, but Kevin makes it super easy to learn. Go check it out if you're interested. And after printing overnight on my Prusa 3D printer, all that's left to do is to go put them in place. Now that is more like it. Everything's organized, everything's got a place, and plus it just looks really cool. Now obviously if you don't have a 3D printer, you're not gonna be able to do this, but you could easily make an organizer just like this out of a scrap piece of wood or heck even a piece of Kaizen foam. Now I could not be happier with how this thing turned out. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, which is to keep all of that stuff organized and not get in the way as I'm using the table saw fence. Plus, even if I extend beyond the cast iron top, everything is held securely in place. So originally, I planned on having this mag switch permanently attached to this organizer. But the more I thought about it, I really like the flexibility of being able to use it anywhere, especially if the fence extends beyond the cast iron table. And now it has a permanent home right where I need it. Now, as a reminder, if you saw something in this video that caught your eye, such as the 1, 2, 3 block or the entire set of setup blocks it came with, I'm gonna have all of that linked down below so you can go check it out whenever you want. Thank you so much for watching. I hope more than anything this was helpful in some way, maybe to help your shop get to that next level, ever closer to shop greatness. If you like this video, check out the playlist I have for all of my shop organizational ideas. Maybe you can get some more from there. I will catch you guys on the next project, and until then, keep pursuing shop greatness.